So this morning we'll start with this. Happens that a certain community in Ohumwade local government area of Edo State flouted the Oba's orders, and then he was forced to curse them. Apparently, according to this report,
that have actually been prevailing in that community, because I would like to say that though we all know that there is the African tradition, you know, just cause them to,
yeah.
He has already.
Yeah, so
well, if he has cost them, I wonder why they're not stopped by now. So I think it's also good for us to question this curse as well. And I think we should have at least add some scientific proof to either proof or disproof.
That story is just a feel-good story, but then it's something that should be taken seriously from the Vanguard. So check out the story and the details.
Obey your Oba.
Yes, obey, pay. This one is also from the Vanguard. IGP Idris orders immediate withdrawal of policemen attached to politicians and VIPs. We've heard the story. People seem to take this with, you know, slight levity, really feeling like, oh, the police are repeating themselves. And well, the details say, following what he referred to as the effects of the current situation in the country, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the immediate withdrawal of police officers, political office holders, VIPs, prominent individuals in the country, also extending to the spy police number plates, and you know, stopping. He's ordered them. He constituted a committee that's chaired by the command of the ACP headquarters, the Mohammed Adamu Dankwara, that extends to those who cover their number plates as well, those who use unauthorized, who proliferate the unauthorized use of ambulances, or rather sirens in their private vehicles and all that. So he's saying those who have the spy police numbers should return them for further verification. Orji, let's look at this story in detail.
Okay, before I get into the story in detail, I need to ask a simple question. Has the IGP Idris responded to the query by the president, if any? Now to the story itself. So it says the IGP Idris says that the need for streamlining the deployment of police personnel attached to VIPs, political and public office holders, is aimed at enhancing effective and efficient policing of the country. Very lovely soundbite. But like you said, this is not the first time we're hearing it. This is like the order to remove or dismantle roadblocks across the country. This is not the first time. And then, if you read further, it says that, however, business entrepreneurs, multinational organizations, corporate individuals, and entities that require such services and are to be found worthy will be considered from the Special Protection Unit of Nigerian Police on application for revalidation, including
private security firms.
Private security firms. So, is this not another money-making venture? This is what they've been doing before. So we've heard them order withdrawal of police from, like we say, VIPs across the country. So what they are really saying is not that they've put an end to it. They are simply saying withdraw and come and apply for revalidation again. I haven't seen what is once you have found worthy. Now it is not up for speculation what how a VIP can be found worthy. What are the
validation process will be.
It's at the whims and caprices of the various commissioners of police, and I think I know what you need to do to be found worthy by a Nigerian policeman.
Okay, we'll find that out.
Finally, on this story, they also in River State, they say there's a law that River State House of Assembly passed. Neighborhood Watch of Vigilante Group has been,
and that was assented by the governor.
So what they've asked to do is to ask the River State Police Commissioner to get a copy of the bill and study it to find out whether it does not deviate from Section 214 of the Constitution. That's the section that says there shall be just one police force in the country. My response very quickly is that I think state police would come to stay in this country one day, whether we like it or not.
Yes, because it's showing, it's rearing its head, you know, showing signals that some states might be interested in it. So this next story will move on very quickly. Remember, you can use the hashtag on Twitter, freshlypress981. We'll tweet the number as well, number for WhatsApp, so you can send the messages there. It's YouTube.com/smooth9 from Lagos. We're streaming live Lagos right now, so join us. This next story is from Punch. Lack of financial autonomy affecting state judiciaries, says CJN. So the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onolen, said on Monday that judiciary at the state level is has been deprived of financial independence as against their counterparts at the national level. Let's very quickly go into the story to see really the implications of his statements, and based on the fact that recently most of the members of the judiciary have been alleged to have collected monies in forms of bribe. And I think that the link he's trying to put here just indicates that it seems to, blame that occurrence on their financial incapacity.
This is actually very true, and I've always advocated for the financial autonomy of the state judiciary and also the federal judiciary every time I've had the opportunity, and I've written about severally on the Legal Niger blog. Now the thing is, governors use money to control the judiciary, and this started at some many years back when the political class tried to weaken the masses. And how you weaken the masses is by weakening the judiciary. If the judiciary does not work, the masses don't have a voice, because the only way the masses can channel their voice is through, before a judge can buy a car, the governor has to say yes. That is, before judges are given cars, the governor has to say yes. Before judges are paid their salaries, the governor has to say yes. Before judges are paid benefits and entitlements, the governor has to say yes, or at least give the judiciary enough money to be able to cater to all those things. But the governors don't do that, and it is very strategic, it is very direct, and it has a very, should I say, a very intended purpose, which is actually to limit the powers of the judiciary. Because if you allow the judiciary can be said to be more powerful than the executive and the what do they call them?
Legislature?
Yes, the House of Assembly. Because if the executive says yes and the House of Assembly says no, if the judiciary says either yes or no, it becomes what the judiciary says. Because law is what the court says it is, and not what is actually written in the statute books. So it is really important that this issue is addressed, and I want to believe that there was a judgment in 2015 by the Federal High Court which directed the Attorney General and also all governors to also ensure that their state judiciaries were independent. Now, even JUSUN, that is, I think what they call themselves, the
Judicial Staff Union, I believe.
Yes, they have also gone on strike severally on this issue, but the governors have refused to budge. Now, it's very intentional. I believe that if you're out there, if your governor does not support the financial independence of your state judiciary, then that sheds a lot of light on the kind of person that your governor is. And I feel that every state indigene should go back to the state and ensure that these issues are trashed out for the better of everyone else. Now, there are other issues that are touched in this story from the speech of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, which I also find quite interesting. For instance, he talks about the corruption and financial crimes cases trial monitoring committees. This is actually very great. It's actually going to keep an eye on the proceedings, especially as it relates to politically exposed persons, and it's also going to let the judges know that they are being watched, so they're going to be on their toes and ensure that they do everything in a prim and proper manner. Now, he has also said that judges should protect the human rights. I find this to be very crucial, because you see, judges in Nigeria have now become the benches that they sit on, which is hard and unfeeling, and it is one of the major reasons why the prisons are still overcrowded to this day. Now, there are about 71,538 inmates in Nigeria, and about 48,852 of them are awaiting trial. That means only about 22,686 are actually convicted. So this itself is a problem. And why does this happen? Because there are so many offenses that people are taken to court for and then remanded in prison, which should not be the case, which is actually very serious. So these are issues that are very important, and I feel that all Nigerians should ensure that they come up on the front burner and are sorted immediately.
Thank you very much, Ade.
I just need to take a second to just appreciate the depth of analysis there. I didn't want to interrupt you, even though you have taken up our time. I didn't want to. No, I'm joking. We've got messages coming in though. Let's see if we can get to a few of them. Tony Ayo though says, your analyst says he's too educated to believe in traditional powers. Even the Bible recognizes such powers. So better tell him to believe.
I say respect you all, man.
Bingus says if these curses are really efficacious, maybe it's about time we started pronouncing them on those politicians who loot the public treasury and consequently make the rest of us suffer. On the news of the order of the IGP on the withdrawal of police personnel attached to VIPs, well, that shouldn't excite anyone because this is about the 1 millionth time that such orders have been made with no effect. He should tell us another story, please. Whereas when we go over to Twitter, Undikoyo Onuaha says, Adedunmade sharp guy. First of all, you hail Oba before asking whether Oba caused the work. And then Enaro Okahe says, please, can the Oba of Benin make some statements on politicians and legislators? This seems like the easiest way in our long line of challenges. Let's move on to our next story.
So the next story now, Vanguard friend, or rather Senator Dino Melaye is on the news. Now, the Nigerian police yesterday paraded 2 suspects that are caught in Kogi State, political thugs. The suspected political thugs and suspected to have had, allegedly have had in their possession AK-47 rifles, 5 pump-action guns, and they were alleged to be working for the lawmaker representing the constituency there in Kogi State, Jimo Moshood, and they said they were hired, the thugs on interrogation said they were hired by Dino Melaye sometime in December to join his team of thugs to secure his position in 2019. Dino Melaye came out to say this is not factual. He said it's an attempt by the Kogi State government to shut him up and prevent him from speaking the truth. He said specifically, he tweeted about this 6 weeks ago. In his words, he said, it's an attempt to shut me up and stop me from speaking the truth. They failed. It's an orchestrated lie by the governor and the police. I've tweeted about this 6 weeks ago that they want to set me up because I got a tip-off from the government house where they met to set me up. You can see the conflicting statements by the criminals. He said one of them said they had AK-47 rifles from him, and the other said he gave them 430,000. That the stories do not match up, really. Whose truth should we believe?
I don't like the smell of this story. I will start with the Yoruba adage that we all know, that the witch cried at night and then the baby died the next morning. You see, if we had heard about this last month or in January or last year, it would have been different. But we cannot divorce this story from what we heard a week or 2 ago.
Yes, where he said that
Dino Melaye raised an alarm.
The assassins were after his life.
No, before then, he raised an alarm that that the governor, there was last week, the governor of Kogi State, if you remember,
yes,
if I'm not wrong, dissolved his cabinet and within minutes changed his mind again. And the story, I understand, was as a result of a leak from the government house. There was a tip-off from government house to Dino Melaye, who then raised alarm at the National Assembly over illegal importation of arms, or alleged illegal importation of arms by the governor.
Yeah.
So if Dino Melaye raised an alarm 2 weeks ago that the governor imported arms illegally, and as a result of his raising an alarm, the Nigerian customs were able to impound those things, and the Nigerian police is coming out the next week or 2 weeks time to say some dogs, and this is not just Nigerian police, Kogi State Command, coming out to say that Dino Melaye allegedly gave money to someone.
That the dogs named him.
I don't like the timing. Now, it's one of the things we do in this country so much is accused of doing something wrong, that the other person has said no, this other person has done its own too. That doesn't
from the Guardian newspaper, and it has to deal with over 192 residents of Zaria and Kaduna State, a massive class action. They're suing the governor over a threat to demolish their houses. They say these houses are located in Nasarawa, in an area known as the Bayan Library in Zaria local government area of the state, that there have been residences and a mosque there since 1978, but since they've noticed red X's painted on their homes, which means they are marked for demolition. Over to you, Adedumade.
Yeah, this is quite interesting as well, because I remember a couple of weeks ago, President Buhari at the NSC meeting actually called Governor El-Rufai the bulldozer.
I laughed.
I would like to add a twist and also remember the movie from back in the day, Demolition Man. I'm telling you. But actually, it's actually very funny because this issue has to do with boundaries of the state. Now, I'm wondering why the national state government themselves are not involved in this issue, and I wonder if they were trying to, or if the people who are suing that is the plaintiffs now, if they try to bring the Nassau State government into the picture at any point in time. Because if it's an issue of boundaries between the states, then I feel that the state governments are in a better position to actually discuss the issue and ensure that the right thing is done. So I wonder what El-Rufai is going to do now. I wonder if he's going to continue with with bringing down the houses, especially as the matter is in court, because he's going to tell a lot on this kind of person, and if he actually should I say obeys court orders, or if he actually respects the court's jurisdiction on this issue. So I want to watch and see how it unfolds. I expect that the houses should not be demolished, and at least a stay of execution should have been filed in court pending when the issue is pending when the issue is resolved. Now there's just a small story here about the teachers and how they try to recruit them, and how some of them could not even write their admission letters or appointment.
Called for the restructuring of Nigeria's federal structure in line with the country's peculiar circumstances. But Orji, when I go through details of the story, I don't see anything that particularly stands out in terms of how he's backing the restructuring. We have statements saying, comparing us to Tanzania, especially how the president of Tanzania recently expressed his confidence that Nigeria has what it takes to deal with internal issues. We have the Speaker of the House talking and saying, yes, we need a proper audit, a proper restructuring of our existing federal systems. What aspects, though, the details of this, I would like to know, unless I'm mistaken. But Orji, what's your take on the story?
Okay, I'll take seriously the views of the of Chief Jim Laying there. I will not take that of Yakubu Dougara seriously. He has a platform. It's like when the Twitter senator comes and tells us this is what Nigeria needs to do. You have a platform. I have a phone. I can tweet. You have a platform. Your voice can be heard. You are a representative of the people. You are a senator, as the case may be. So the National Assembly in this. Like I always say, this is 2018. Elections are away in 2019. That will be the end of this National Assembly, and then he can get re-elected and so on and so forth. But the truth is, if you want restructuring, which most Nigerians want, you know what to do. And as a matter of fact, the National Assembly has already turned it down, just like the president has dismissed it. So you don't go to the national succeed, and then you come out and see, when they give you a microphone, you now start saying things that you cannot do when you're in the house. I'm not going to take him serious. We need restructuring here, but when we have serious people, we do it.
Right. We keep it moving. We coming in very quickly. Sunday sent in this one saying, again, Dino Melaye and his governor are arming thugs in preparation for the 2019 elections. The Nigerian way, he says. Kogi State needs to be put on alert. While this one is in from Gwengu saying, so Orji is being deceived by Dino Melaye's trickery. It's common knowledge that most of these politicians are political thugs who they arm and use for their own selfish political gains. The arming of these thugs is what has resulted in the spate of killings over the years, and it still goes on unabated. Has anyone ever wondered how an AK-47 that costs about 3 million is so common in the country? Very interesting. I had no idea those were the real life prices of those. But we keep it moving. Up next, the Lagos State House of Assembly moves to review the controversial youth charge. It has caused so much conversation and talk, and I don't think I've ever come across Lagosians being just as engaged in the legislative process as they are now. But the House of Assembly, via the Speaker of the House, Mr. Mudashiru Obasa, announced that they would be reviewing this. There's a 6-man ad hoc committee set up review, but he did go on to say that, listen, we appeal to our people to contribute and participate in the process of lawmaking. This was actually done. We had public hearings when the land use charge was in the process before passage. We invited the public. We didn't hear much from the public concerning all these concerns. If only they had responded at that time, probably we would have done what would be acceptable. So this review is another opportunity for people to be part of the process. He then goes on to say that the public hearings might be this Friday or next week Monday, and says that there will be a first and second readings of the amendment on Tuesday and Thursday. Over to you, Orji. Do you think that as a resident of Lagos, perhaps we need to be more involved in the process, or do you think this was still roughshod? It was obnoxious, as the article puts it.
I agree that Nigerians don't really take lawmaking seriously. They don't know how much the role they have to play. But that's on one hand. On the National Assembly themselves, or the various state houses of assembly. And
please know that for Lagos State House of Assembly, if you want to know what's going on, you can go to the website. It exists. Go and know who is in your constituency that you need to hold responsible. LagosHouseOfAssembly.gov.ng. Please continue.
Let me use what happens at the National Assembly, for example. You see in the papers on Tuesday or Wednesday that there will be public hearing on Friday, and then you have 24 hours or 48 hours to submit a memorandum to the House on your position paper. How on earth would a Nigerian just become aware in 24 hours time that there will be a law is about to be passed? You have 24 hours to travel all the way to Abuja. That's an example of what happens and why it's difficult for Nigerians to take part in lawmaking proper. Now, I want to quote the speaker here. I'm of the opinion that there is need for us to pick up the law and look at those sections that our people perceive to be obnoxious. This will make us address the concerns that our people in Lagos State. We are representatives of the people and are responsible and responsive. We need to address the concerns. I agree you need to address concerns, but were you sleeping? Did you not read the provisions of those laws before you pass them? So a bill is presented. It takes different stages. You have committees so it now raises the question of what really our assemblymen are doing. Do they just rubber stamp bills?
but here's a question. What part of this bill do you think is obnoxious? What part of it do you think is not reasonable?
Well, the one that people have complained about the most is the hike in the land use charge itself. If you remember, when I said I hadn't read the law, when I analyzed a part of it some weeks ago, I said I agree to the extent that what they've tried to do is to
simplify and consolidate all the
different charges. That's fine, but doesn't mean you should now expand it. And then the other part, which deals with a specific reference to a company in a law, which
they said was a mistake. They said it was a mistake.
That's the point.
But then that law is due for review every 5 years. So how is it wrong that they reviewed this time and broken it down to? I mean, because the 20 million naira valued properties have been brought down to 9,000 naira bill a year for the previous judge.
That's not really bad.
I have no problem with it. You see, there's a reason why people are making noise. Lawmaking, and I keep saying it, lawmaking is a process. There are different stages. One person introduces a law, it is read, you go through a committee stage, you go public hearing, you come back, you go through it again. At the end of the day, when people are making noise that something is wrong, so you should blame yourself that I made a mistake in the first place. Don't turn it to the people and start blaming them to say you should have taken part.
Well, is it blaming or encouraging people? Because now Lagos, please note, there are public hearings coming up Friday and again on Monday. Please go to that Lagos State House of Assembly website. Insist, call your constituency reps, find out exactly how this goes forward.
Sorry, they actually said it will be on Friday or Monday.
That's or Monday, yes.
Friday or Monday. They should give us notice, reasonable one. Don't come and tell me it's tomorrow.
Please go to your Lagos State House of Assembly website. This is our chance to be involved. Let us not be told. Let us not hear from other people. Still moving on now, finally into this last story very quickly. Dapchi. Security forces alerted before abduction. This is a rather damning Amnesty International report that revealed that Nigerian security forces got advance warnings that a convoy of Boko Haram fighters was heading towards Dapchi, a town where the 110 schoolgirls were abducted on the 19th of February. Now, I'm going to allow Adedumade to take us very quickly through some of these details and what this really means, this sort of report.
You know, this is not the first time we've gotten this kind of report, especially from past attacks by the Boko Haram insurgency. Now, basically, the facts of this issue now just say that Boko Haram was sighted in Gaydam at 2 p.m. and they made calls to the relevant authorities. Now, they were also sighted in Gumsa at 3 p.m. and people further made calls to the relevant authorities, only for them to show up in Dapchi at 6:30 p.m. and were there for less than an hour before anybody actually showed up. You know, I'm just saying that there cannot be smoke without fire. The military will always come and deny it, but I think their incompetence speaks for itself, basically.
Incompetence. Really horrifying stuff. We'll round up with a few of these messages.
Amy from Apapa says, just wanted to ask, how much does an AK-47 machine gun cost? It means everyone is getting one these days, e.g. the boys, herdsmen, etc. Land use charge, what part was obnoxious, you asked? The astronomical hike is sinful. Lagosians are broke. We do not need this, from BT.
Well, up on Twitter, we have Cleo that sent in a message saying the teacher problem is the Nigerian government pretends to pay people who in turn pretend to work. And Jimo Sharif says inequality, insincerity and poverty will always be a problem. That's why you'll see policemen carrying bags and luggage and even to the extent of holding umbrellas for businessmen and politicians. It's high time that proper and an effective system is put in place. A big thank you to our analyst for this morning. Orji Uka, thank you very much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Adedunmade Onibokun, thank you very much. please find them up online. They are on Twitter, both of them, at Orji Uka and at Adedumade, very simply. Valentine and myself are still online, but we've also been streaming online over from the official Smooth handle. So go over to Smooth 981 FM Lagos up on YouTube, and you'll be able to catch a replay of all the things that we spoke about this morning. We are also streaming on all our regular platforms. Go to the website www.smooth981f.fm and our podcast for all the Smooth shows. Just download the app on iOS or Android platforms. We are Smooth FM Lagos. Good morning.
The headlines.
Bless.
The stories.